Hey everybody, welcome to part two. So this is our planning phase. So in our previous step, what we did is we set up our environment, we got everything ready to go, we have a Git repository, we have a project that we're starting and we're going to create. And in this phase, what we're going to be doing is the planning. So what the planning basically comes down to is we're creating 4 files. The first file is called claude.md. And claude.md is the control file or the instruction file for Claude. It tells Claude how to behave during the project. Now, there are a lot of people who put very specific project information in claude.md. I don't recommend that. I use basically the same 12-line claude.md file for every project I do. There's a few little variations, and then in this phase, I'm going to show you what kind of variations I make to it. Now, the second file is called requirements.md. Requirements.md is your actual what you're building. You're telling it that this is what I want it to do, and this is how I want it to do it. So that is the functionality of the project is in requirements.md. The third file is called techstack.md. Techstack.md is what tools do you want to use in building it. So in our case, we want to use Linux. We want to use Ubuntu Linux. We want to use PHP as our programming language. We want to use MySQL and MariaDB as the database. We want to use Bootstrap 5. We want to use HTMX, and we want to use Alpine.js. That's all specified in techstack.md. If you don't create a techstack.md, you're just letting the AI create it for you, and that's a bad idea. Then the fourth file is called designnotes.md. Design notes is how you want it to look. And in this case, what we're doing is we're referencing Bootstrap. So we're referencing Bootstrap, and we're referencing some Bootstrap templates that are on the getbootstrap.com website. So we're going to be referencing that in the design notes. So what we're doing in this section is we're getting ready to build these 4 files, because once we have these 4 files, we can start building the project. We're going to start with creating a claude.md file. So what I'm going to do here in my BB edit, I've got a claude.md, and I'm just going to save this. I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to put it in my new project. And so it's going to go over here in my YouTube SaaS project, and not in my HTML. I want it just to be in the root of my YouTube SaaS project. Now I have a claude.md. So I'm going to open up VS Code. I'm going to open up my folder. And now here is my project. So I have a claude.md. I have an HTML directory. I'm going to say, yes, I trust the authors. And let's start by working with our claude.md file. So this is a claude.md file I almost always use. And so basically, the claude.md file provides the basic rules that Claude is going to use while it's writing code for you. So every time you start up a session with Claude, it's going to be looking at this claude.md file for the basic overall instructions. Now, a lot of times, if you go into like Claude Desktop and it says, hey, and you say, hey, create a claude.md file for me, it is going to be huge. And you don't want to use that huge claude.md file. And you don't want it really to be different for every project. So every project that I do that's this type of project, I have it exactly the same claude.md. I may make a few minor changes to it, but in this case, we'll go through it right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm telling Claude, number 1, initial analysis and planning. We want Claude to think through the problem, read through the code base for relevant files, and write a plan to tasks to-do.md. So it is going to create a directory called tasks, and it is going to put a to-do list in it every time you ask it to do something. Then I've got design inspiration. Now I added this one because a lot of times I like to use templates. Like I'll get a template from Template Monster or Monster One, and I'll have a design that I like. So I'll want it to use CSS files. So I have a folder called design. It's a Bootstrap 5 template that I want to use as the design inspiration of the applications. Please do not make any changes to any file in this file or subfolders. Now, normally what I'll do here is I'll just go in here and I'll say new folder and I'll create design. And a lot of times I'll just leave it empty. Other times I'll put Bootstrap 5 files in there. So next is number 3, the to-do list structure. Okay, so the plan should have a list of to-do items that you can check off as you complete them. So we're going through the plan, we're checking off them as we complete them. Number 4 is plan verification. Before you begin working, check in with me and I will verify the plan. This is very important at the beginning, but as you start refining your application, it's not nearly as important. Then the next, we have task execution. Then begin working on the to-do items, marking them complete as you go. And the reason we're going to do this is sometimes we're going to stop Claude from doing the work that it's doing, and we're going to want to go back and have it continue. So we need to know what it's done. So when it's working on something, we're going to keep track of the to-do items. Okay, number 6, communication. Every step of the way, just give me a high-level explanation of what changes you made. Okay, simple enough. Number 7, the simplicity principle. Make every task and code change you do as simple as possible. We want to avoid making any massive or complex changes. Every change should impact as little code as possible. Everything is about simplicity. Okay. Number 8, process documentation. Every time you perform actions related to the process, append your actions to the docs activity.md and read that file whenever you find it necessary to assist you. Please include every prompt I give. Now this, I keep track of this because some prompts are better than others. And I want to make sure that when I'm prompting, I know that the prompts were good or not good, and I want to be able to review them. Okay, number 9, and this goes back to the first step we took, the Git repository. Every time you make successful changes, please push the changes to the current Git repository. Okay. This is very important because once it knows it's using Git, if it makes a mistake, it's going to know to go back. Claude's going to be like, hey, I made a mistake. Maybe I want to revert back to a couple of pushes ago. Okay, the HTML folder. The HTML folder is the HTML home directory of the web server. It is a traditional LAMP stack. All files that need to be deployed must be in that folder or a subfolder. This is basically telling Claude that for this project, we're using a LAMP stack and all our code has to be in HTML or below. Now, the requirements document, the tech stack document, and the design note documents are also going to reiterate this. So this isn't 100% what we're doing here. So we are telling it that it's the HTML folder and its subfolders, but some of this is going to get overridden a little bit when we put together our tech stack and a requirement. ID tags. In every HTML file, make sure that each div tag has a unique ID that I can use to communicate through my prompts when I need to make style changes. This is really important because part of prompting and part of vibe coding is having a conversation back and forth with Claude. And sometimes it's easier to say, I need you to move ID equals so-and-so than it is to say that card that's in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, so that's where ID tags come in. 12, the review process. Finally, add a review section to the todo.md file with a summary of the changes you made and other relevant information. Now, this information is going to get posted every time you push to Git. So you're going to have a full documentation in your Git directory of everything your code did. All right, so this is our claude.md. Now, there's 2 other files that are really important with Claude. That's requirements.md, techstack.md, and designnotes.md. Now, I'm not going to use an example. I'm going to go through the process I use of creating them. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a template. And I have templates. I am the founder of vibetemplates.com. So I have a template site. And you're going to see everything we're doing today is going to turn into a template. So we're going to build a template which is a simple to-do list application that has a Kanban board for the tasks that I need to create. It's going to have a login and password. It's going to be a basic application that is a good starting point for other applications. All right, so now we want to go to the point where we're creating our requirements.md file.